What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a new college football 25 rebuild. I've been seeing it in the comments, C4, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do it? I was always going to get to it. After we rebuilt Norfolk State with Michael Vick last week, another Philadelphia Eagle great gets a head coaching job. This one maybe even more obscure, as Delaware State, who are coming off a one-win season, hire DeSean Jackson as their next head coach, which is truly bizarre, truly out of left field, but you better believe we're going to have some fun with it. Delaware State's been pretty bad as of late, coming off a one-win season. The last time they were good, and really the only time they've been good, without having to go all the way back to like the 70s and 80s, they had a random season in 2007 when they were very good. They won the Black College National Championship. They made the Division I college football playoff. They lost to Delaware pretty bad, but, you know, that was something. That shows the potential of this program, that they could get hot. And I was kind of like, they have to have some players that have gone to the league. They have Jamal Jackson, who like in the mid to late 2000s was a center for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the only player I've ever heard of that has come from Delaware State to gone on to the NFL. So it's a program that is not particularly rich in football history. So we're going to change that with DeSean Jackson at the helm. Now, for our schemes, I'm going to go with Fresno State because Jeff Tedford, who just recently left Fresno State last year, I'm going to assume that their offense is still close to what Jeff Tedford was running. And Jeff Tedford was the head coach of the Cal teams that DeSean Jackson was a part of back in the mid to late 2000s. I think much like Michael Vick, DeSean Jackson's background out of the three starting points would be probably a recruiter. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to use his background as an NFL pro and getting kids to kind of recognize his name and his brand to buy in to what he's trying to build at Delaware State. So that is what we're going to work with. And obviously, we're going to start with recruiting receivers. Now, we put Delaware State in the MAC, and I think very similarly to what we did with Norfolk State. You guys kind of appreciate that I didn't chase jumping up that ladder of jumping conferences and keep going, and we won with Norfolk State in a smaller conference. And maybe that will be the plan here in the MAC. I think ultimately it'll come down to where we're at a couple years in and whether or not staying in the MAC is hurting our reputation, hurting our recruiting enough where it might make more sense to jump up to, you know, could be looking at the ACC potentially if we can earn that and win a couple MACs. But again, this first year, because we are with the NPC roster, we're just kind of going to go through the motions, get from point A to point B, more so hone in on our first recruiting class. And hopefully, surely but surely, like we did with Norfolk State and Michael Vick, kind of just get rid of the NPC roster and build our own. Speaking on our first recruiting board, we have our one deep threat wide receiver, Maka Diggs, who's just outside a top 500 player. And as soon as I saw 96 acceleration, said, that's all we need to scout, as we are working with an incredibly limited budget of 350 hours. Also have Earl Cockrell here at quarterback out of Georgia. Has the platinum headstrong mental, 91 throw power, 85 short, 85 mid, 92 acceleration, 87 speed. Not a gem. Fully scouted once I started seeing some of those stats, but looks like he's going to be an outstanding quarterback for us next season. It's players that we're interested. We're going to try to go after some of the easier 3 stars. One gem out of the whole bunch. Now, I haven't 100% scouted everybody, but we got Paul Dieter here, 6'6", 265. 1500th, but looks pretty good. Has great burst for a bigger defensive end. Got some linebackers, got some corners that look pretty good. DBs, we're going to try and handle special teams this year as well, because you kind of handle special teams now, get it out of the way for the next couple years. And while we're working with this limited budget, we don't have to allocate any to kicker or punter. But ultimately, we're first place for 19 total targets outside of 1 here at guard. So I feel like we're going to have a pretty decent first-year class. And really, again, as we're just trying to flush out the NPCs from this team builder roster, early on, it's very much quantity over quality and maximizing our 350 hours. So a couple weeks into recruiting, our board here has shifted a little bit. We had 21, and the couple guys that we were first place for was found to be deal breakers where we are as a program. It is what it is. But we do have our first 2 recruits. And honestly, I'm going to say Cockrell at quarterback and Diggs at wide receiver here. These are kind of our big 2 that I really, really want to land, because it gives you kind of your 1-2 punch. So for Diggs, we're going to go there with the 50. I don't know if we'll be able to get... I think the 50 will probably be enough, because it's not even going to get to that Week 13 visit with South Florida, and there's no way they're hitting him with 50 points right now, so that should work out. But we do get Boone, who's almost a top 500 player, just outside of a top 500 player, and he's a pass cover line, 90 speed linebacker. You'll take those every day of the week. And we get who very likely will be quarterback 1 in our first true real season, even though technically is year 2, with Delaware State, Earl Cockrell. And let's go. We get Diggs committed a week later. We also get Ojabo, who's a top 1,000 offensive tackle. And now it's going to be, let's see if we can get some of these guys to drop on the defensive side of the ball. So the NPC roster messed around and made a bowl game. The way I like to interpret this is DeSean Jackson took the worst roster, and with this unknown of whether or not he's going to be a good coach, what kind of coach he's going to be. He's going to be the kind of coach that gets the most out of underqualified players. He's going to be a Deion Sanders that revitalizes the program through good recruiting, maybe not so much a developer. Looks like a pretty damn good developer, taking one of the worst teams, going 6-6 in the first season of MAC play. And we take on 8-4 UConn here in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. We almost got it with the NPCs falling 38-30 in a little bit of a shootout against UConn. I'm excited, though. This is just kind of the beginning, the infancy of Delaware State. You know, I'm going to say that Norfolk State with Michael Vick, that might be the pace car of what I want to try to achieve here with Delaware State. I want to try to surpass what we did there. And we've already started out a lot better than what we did with Michael Vick and the Spartans. Unfortunately, I thought 6 wins, a bowl game, would give us at least half a star prestige in the right direction. Unfortunately, we end year 1 still as a 1-star prestige program. So that means 350 hours of recruiting for year 2. Beautiful. As we wrap up the transfer portal, our big get before we look at the class overall could very well be Amari Jones, stolen away from Florida International. I remember on the roster, he has a ridiculous skill set. He was the guy that we tried to force to be our scrambling quarterback. And I'm going to almost assume he will be our quarterback next season. And we end up finishing with a top 50 recruiting class. I think that's definitely down to the sheer volume. And that's likely going to be the tail of the tape next year. I think I'm going to try to chase another 25 plus 3 stars when all is said and done to kind of complete this roster overhaul and get the turnover that we want. So looking at what we have under the hood of our 26 target recruiting class. Amari Jones at quarterback. He's probably going to have the best attributes, but only a normal dev trait is not the role that we really want to see. Anything star or above is going to be an absolute home run. We got that with Marcus Washington Jr., the sophomore corner. And my rule of thumb for the transfer portal, we actually had a bunch of players. Like, I had more players interested in our program in the transfer portal than I would if I was a 3-star coming off a bowl win. It was bizarre. But what I had to do because of our limited hours, I just wanted to try to target the freshmen and sophomores because you get a little bit more meat on the bone. And when you're trying to overhaul the roster the way that we are, that's kind of what you need to do. So into our recruiting class from high school, we got Colin DeBerry at tackle with a star dev. That is huge. Silas at punter with a star dev. Star dev on Wilbon, the running back out of Philly. We got Boykins here with a star dev. Where's the quarterback that I got? Wonder what he will have. That'll be interesting because I think both of them are going to have interesting skill sets, and maybe the dev trait will be the deciding factor. Dieter, our 3-star gem, only impact. Oh, here he is. Cockrell, normal dev. So we have 2 interesting quarterbacks coming in, both with limited ceilings. Could be a very interesting quarterback battle, to say the least. We get star dev on Cashman, a running back. McCaw, Diggs, our deep threat, 6'2" with 96 acceleration. Mystery to what the speed is, but you can imagine probably pretty good. Impact dev there on Boone and him. Star dev on Cam Winton at corner. And we finish up with Sauerbun, who is likely going to be a tight end, our highest rated recruit, top 500. And, of course, no freaking dev trait. Year 2, our first true season, it feels like, here with Delaware State. Our schedule looks, attainable. We got Cal, scheduled them just for the DeSean Jackson ties. Scheduled UConn for a rematch of that bowl game. But I think as it relates to MAC play, we're a 78 overall team. We are definitely right in the mix for upper middle class of the MAC here in year 2. For our recruiting board, we got 1 instant commit here in James Redmond. Other than that, honestly, same approach as last year. Quantity over quality. Quality where you can get it. And I don't know if this is necessarily universally known information. I assume it is if I came across my desk. But when you offer a scholarship, you get the players all the motivations and grades. And if it's, like, we got some B's and some C's, but then for me right now, A+. When playing time, people have said that playing time is a relation to what this recruit's rating is to my team, my current roster. So if they are A+, it means that they're going to be a higher rated player than what I currently have starting for, I don't necessarily know if that means like my day one starter. I don't know if that means the depth where they could potentially, but if anyone can shed light on that, because that's kind of what I'm chasing here. I'm getting players that, for the most part, all have us within their top 10 anyways. But near the end, especially with just my last couple hours, I just started adding pretty much anybody at a position of need in my board. And if they were coming out with A+ playing time, based upon the information that I knew, like, we're going to keep them on that board. One thing you may have not noticed on that recruit, there's no quarterback. We got Jones in the portal. We got Cockrell as part of our recruiting class. And I think Cockrell is going to need to be our day one starter. Only one overall point separates them. We'd love to go after QB, but I think I'm going to probably wait towards the transfer portal if we're going to add one. But you look at Cockrell, just a much better athlete. Jones does get the advantage with the throw power at 94, which is a cannon. 91, though, he was good enough to get the job done for Cockrell. 85 accuracy. We get +5, almost +10 mid-accuracy advantage to Cockrell. Big-time deep threat. Lose a little bit of throw on the run and throw under pressure. The break sack. Play action, big advantage. So I think ultimately, right call at quarterback. Going with the true freshman out of Buford, Georgia. And I would say out of any other position, everything else is pretty much as is. When I can, trying to go with non-NPC. Most of the starters, I'd say like 90% of the starters are non-NPC. We got Washington there, the star dev that we landed in the transfer portal. But also, like, I mean, just not a lot of studs in our team across the board, which is unfortunate, but it's a work in progress. And I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how we are a 78 overall. Like, we don't have many people above a 78 overall. We're going to go with DeBerry, the star dev at right tackle. Got to start him. Our best players are on the guards. We have Kalen Franklin, who's an 80, and Perkins, who's an 84. He's a senior, so we'll only get one more year. We're going to Jabo, the 70 true freshman at left tackle. So there could potentially be some growing pains. Big get from us, though, from our recruiting. We got Maka Diggs, our deep threat, 98 speed, 96 acceleration, 90 agility, 92 change of direction. And catching's not brutal. I was expecting that to be like 67 catching for only a 66 overall. Luckily, the awareness is really what's kind of hurting his rating there. So I'd be big-time potential for him. The first true dual threat that DeSean Jackson has recruited. And speaking of speed, player that I only assume we get from Philadelphia because he loves DeSean Jackson, we have Darren Wilbon, the star dev from our recruiting class, 69, but he has 94 speed, 91 acceleration, 92 change of direction, 83 carrying. Everything else is decent. He has some really good receiving ability, could very well be a receiver. Big things. That guy is going to be very, very special for us, I think, when all is said and done. Guys, this is our first true season with our fingerprints over the roster. Season opener at the link. DeSean Jackson returns with Delaware State to take on Temple in a very winnable matchup. Let's hop in and see what some of these true freshmen, some of our first recruits, see how good they are. That is the most fans Temple's ever had for a home game since maybe that game they played against Notre Dame. Matt Rule was there. Let's be honest, everyone here, the stands are packed to see DeSean Jackson. That's a great ball. Diggs, 98 speed. We'd like to honestly see that be a house call. Again, if I'm looking at the roster, Cockrell, because he doesn't have a dev trait, probably a limited ceiling. But I think Wilbon and Diggs both have potential to be all-time type players. Let's go Wilbon from the Philly area. We're going to run right down the star guard. Delaware State got a score on the opening drive. No, dive on it. Oh, no. After a field goal, shenanigans at foot. Oh, doesn't matter, red pass or not. Diggs makes the grab. He's over 100 yards in the first half. True freshman. Growing pains of a true freshman. We're going to go for it, man. I want a little bit of juice. Well, I can grab here. We got Diggs. We got, honestly, Diggs and Wilbon on the backfield are our top 2 targets in the passing game. But I feel like when you got 98 speed against a team like Temple, all disrespect included to Temple in this scenario, they do not have the athletes. So if we can get Diggs in space, he's going to win every time. Let's go back to that play, actually. I like it. Wilbon, we got Diggs. Are we able to get Wilbon out the backfield? Yes, we do. Right away. Boom! Easy does it. First passing touchdown of the career of Cockrell as a true freshman. Second touchdown of the game for Wilbon back at home in Philly. Oh, God, Diggs again, man. He's over 200. Unstoppable. We can put this one away here, finishing this drive off with a touchdown. Look for the hat trick for Wilbon. He just runs straight up into a, I don't know what that was, a D lineman. All right, we put this game away here with a touchdown. Wilbon looking for the hat trick. And it is blocked up. Medium. It's not the end of the world. Making Temple use their timeouts. In a perfect world, I mean, you know, this might be the best way. If we know eventually we're going to score, and we make them use all their timeouts, should be able to see this one out and start year 2 with a huge victory with DeSean Jackson back at the link. 118. And to get an idea of the vision of Delaware State and our offense going forward, we got the freshman class. Cockrell, ups and downs, couple fumbles, 3 turnovers on the day, but I think out of all the positions, a freshman starting quarterback definitely has the most pressure. Wilbon, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, plus he was able, like literally we only went to 2 guys in the passing game, 66 yards and a touchdown, and Maka Diggs, the 6'2", 98 speed freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida. DeSean Jackson has his new favorite player. Big game up against Cal. We are 2-0. We beat Temple, beat FCS. This will be a great measuring stick as to where we are at here in year 2. And we kept it close. Honestly, I thought there was definitely blowout potential for Cal. And 2 points, you know? A safety somehow in there. They got Mendoza, who's one of the best quarterbacks in all college football. Cockrell, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns for the true freshman. Couldn't really get the run game going. But, you know what? All things considered, out of conference, impressive showing. Happy with that. Delaware State 5-1. Not only 5-1, 3-0 in conference play, which is the most important thing here in the MAC. But we got a big matchup here. Week 8 against UConn, the team that defeated us in our surprising bowl appearance last year in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Let's at least get a front row seat for this one and see if our dogs, our freshman dogs, can beat the, what is those, Coyotes? Huskies? This is a little bit of a grudge match. I'll tell you something I remember about DeSean Jackson. When Philly got rid of DeSean Jackson very much held a grudge every time they would come to town take on the Eagles, be it if he was with the Commanders or the Bucks. He always went off. So that's the kind of personality we have at our head coach. And I mean, UConn is further along as a program. They're a better team. But we're hanging right in there. Come on. Miss it on 4th down. Now they're much like Cal going up against a heavyweight opponent. We're, you know, middleweight. Maybe potentially getting ready to bulk up to light heavyweight. But we are going in undermanned and swinging for the fences. And, I mean, we're leaving with something against Cal and UConn. Toughest 2 games on the schedule by far. So I said I didn't have a quarterback on our recruiting board. That was true until now. We're going back in, double dipping for the second wave of our recruiting. And we got Banks, Waiters, and Lepke on defensive and offensive line. All A+, so they're going to be upgrades. And there was a quarterback here, a scrambler, 3-star. And he has a gym. At least got to entertain that. Now, we're not on his interest, so could be nothing. But we're going to try to chase him. And what better time than the final week of the regular season get our first defensive or offensive player of the week. It's Everett Rusa, who we got in the transfer portal from UAB in a win over Ball State. Ends up giving us a 7-5 record, which is a win more than what we had last year. And we likely will be featuring in a bowl game. Getting an idea of we are conference standings a ways off. Toledo with the big dogs. Kent State, Buffalo. It's work in progress. And we are going forward. And we are at least in contention for a bowl game. And it looks like it might be the Myrtle Beach Bowl again. We're actually better than the Myrtle Beach Bowl as we get Texas State in the Camilla Bowl. Oh, let's go. We got it. Look at the confetti drop. Camilla Bowl champs. Unreal performance from Javon Moore at wide receiver. 8 catches, $137 and 2 tuds. Oh, we ran it up. Different levels. 45-13 for Delaware State's first bowl win. We're not going to get too hard of ourselves. It's a Camilla Bowl, right? We have much bigger fish to fry. But a great little boost for momentum. And hey, maybe it'll help us get off that 1-star prestige this offseason. 384 touchdowns for Earl Cockrell. We got 69 for Cashman and a tutty. Wilbon with a tutty. Both of these guys, they are 2-star dev freshmen. So happy that they're getting a nice little 1-2 punch. Moore actually had 3 touchdowns. I sold him short. Maka Diggs gets on the board. 63 yards, 9 catches, and a touchdown. And on the defensive side of the ball, some decent pressure after the quarterback. And 3 interceptions. Hell yeah. All right, did not increase our team prestige this year. Goddamn. We all know this program is going up. 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks for the freshman Cockrell. Great. 769 and 8 for Wilbon, who's also a weapon out of the backfield as a receiver. He goes for 220 and another one. So almost 1,000 yards from scrimmage for the freshman. You'll love to see that. 10 touchdowns from the sophomore Moore. Foreman was decent. Maki Diggs, now he did have 200 yards in our first game, but he still ends up as our team's leading receiver, 72 catches, 905 yards, 4 touchdowns. Defensively, need to definitely figure out the pass rush a little bit. I love the fact Marcus Washington, we landed in the portal, who looks like he could be potentially one and done heading towards. Same with Arusa. We gotta make these guys happy. Oh, we actually went up a star, half star. Okay, that's deserved. All right, I jumped the gun there a little bit. Looking at, all of our players that are potentially leaving are guys that we just brought in the transfer portal. So I like to keep a couple. Washington and Rusa are the big 2, and we swing and miss on all of them. Overton, we got in the portal. All right, he's gone. Raheem Long. We got Amari Jones. I like him as a backup if he wants to stay as a backup. And even if we lie and tell them there could be a chance of a quarterback competition, but we get 2 of 6. Could have been 0-6. For our transfer portal, almost exclusively offensive linemen. So, yeah. Might as well just replenish the O-line. We end up, it was a long battle, but we get that 3-star gem quarterback, Avery Perkins. Excited to see if we can get star dev, please, star dev. So 26 recruits last year put us in the top 50. 26 recruits this year puts us again in the top 50. But because we've got over 50 recruits the last 2 seasons, it means going into year 3 might be able to slightly start to switch from having a quantity to a quality approach. But also, it's working. Take a bunch of swings, and you never know what you might find in terms of dev traits and skill caps. All right, so let's look at the dev traits of our class. We have an athlete here who's definitely probably not going to be playing quarterback for us, but normal dev. Looking at what we were able to get in the transfer portal. Impact, normal, impact, star dev on Richard Swain. He's coming in as a freshman, which is a really, really good get. But again, likely all these players aren't going to stay at tackle. We'll shuffle them across the offensive line. Getting into our high school recruits, we got star dev on Lepke at D tackle. He's part of that second wave of recruiting. Impact on Waiters. We got normal, a lot of normals, unfortunately. Impact on Tanner. Star dev on Najee Fox at tight end. We need a new starting tight end, so that should work out very, very well. Busby Speedster, 96 speed with the platinum. Mental impact. We got Tubbs, normal. Redmond, instant committed. But here's the big one. Perkins is the 3-star gem quarterback that has those real juicy 3-star dual threat. Now, if it's impact, it is what it is. If it's normal, that's a robbery. If it's a star, we might need to have a discussion about who our starting quarterback is. And it is impact F. So I think, to be completely fair, probably need to compare skill caps between him and Cockrell as to who should be our quarterback going forward. So a topic for discussion as we go into year 3 was around the quarterback spot and skill caps. And Perkins came in with a dev trait. The bad news, not a good roll with skill caps. Now, he does have 94 throw power, which is great for a freshman. But the fact of the matter is, Cockrell already has 1 year starting under his belt, and they have like the exact same skill caps. They're going to be roughly the same overall. So what that does mean is we are still in pursuit of a quarterback. Wilbon, our freshman, was outstanding last year. He's up to an 84 overall with a star dev. Unfortunately, again, no one, I spent the last 10 minutes kind of combing through our roster, seeing what we have, especially the guys that have star devs that were, gems. What are the dev traits looking like? What are the skill caps looking like? And unfortunately for most of our big time players, it's what happens when you are a small program. You get those 3-star guys that might have surprisingly good stats, but the reality is their skill caps aren't the best. Najee Fox here at tight end, another star dev. His skill caps actually are fairly solid, all things considered for a tight end. He's a guy that we might want to get on the field sooner than later. But the offensive line across the board, most of those guys are roughly at their ceiling. DeBerry at right tackle was a star dev of last year's class. He probably has still the best. That's a guy there, I'd imagine he could be high 80s. When all is said and done, we could be circling one of our first draft picks. And it doesn't get much better on the defensive side of the ball, to be completely honest with you. A lot of decent-looking players, a lot of nice athletes, but we're getting, the nice athletes that might have somewhat limited skill cap. Winton was a star dev corner recruit. Actually, pretty decent skill caps, all things considered. So a fairly high ceiling left for him. But ultimately, especially on the offensive side of the ball, pretty disappointing skill cap, so we're going to likely go with the same starters we had last year. For our recruiting, said this year might be trending in the direction of going for quality over quantity. Now, quality is relative when you only have 400 hours and you are a 1.5-star prestige school, but we're going with about 10 less targets than we had the last couple years, and we're trying to just cast that much smaller net. Get these low guys, and low in terms of most of these dudes are top 1,000 players, if not closer to top 500. Some of them we have fully scouted to know if they're gems or not. But a lot of these are just based off of the roster needs that we have going forward and cheesing a little bit the playing time grade and how that is in relation to our roster. But I do like some of our skill position players that we're looking at. We have Devontae Zettner out of Georgia, 6'3" with 92 speed, 96 acceleration. Again, the requirement for us in this rebuild, little challenge that we're throwing in, is every wide receiver has to be a deep threat. That's been a little tough because there are a lot more route runners and physical guys. I think we only had 3 or 4 deep threats that had top interest in our school originally. Now, luckily, we're able to gain a little bit of ground here, but it hasn't been perfect. We have Javon Holly, the 3-star gem. He's almost a top 500 player, 94 speed, 95 acceleration, 91 agility. He could be an absolute beast. And we got Sean Root, 5'11", out of Florida, 94 speed, 92 acceleration. He's just kind of solid. We have the running back here, the gem, Adanaju. Not my perfect-looking running back, but we'll taste any gem that we could potentially get to roll with a dev trait. And in our pursuit for a quarterback, we have another 3-star. There's no gem, which makes me a little meh on what the dev trait could be, but 95 throw power, 90-plus speed, decent enough accuracy. The rating looks good, so we'll pursue him. We start the season 2-0 with wins against Florida International and App State, but here we go. The one that we're going to continue to schedule, honestly, until we beat them. We got DeSean Jackson's former school, the Cal Bears. Now, the good news is Macca Diggs went for 6 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and a MAC Player of the Week performance from our bona fide wide receiver 1. The bad news is we lose to Cal again. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to schedule Cal again next year in year 4, and we're going to play that one. We're going to beat them. And a DeSean Jackson revenge game. At least Mendoza's going to be gone. Keep scheduling these freaking opponents that have baller quarterbacks. Cockrell, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Run game not. The balance wasn't there that we really need to probably hang and control the clock against a bigger school. A couple sacks, no turnovers. Humbling loss. Good up for a late season push. We have a gigantic matchup in the MAC here in week 10 as 6-2 Delaware State takes on 7-1 Toledo. And after our loss to Cal, FCS handled business. Akron, Eastern Michigan, Ohio. We did just lose before the bye week to Central Michigan. They're legit. A lot of these teams in the MAC are high 70s, low 80s, so it's not like we're a juggernaut, even though 84s across the board does look pretty good. But I'd like to think, looking at our remaining schedule, Toledo is going to be the tough one. We have Western Michigan, Buffalo, and Bowling Green. All those at home, including the Toledo one, which could be an advantage. And honestly, we're going to have to win out. And a win over Toledo is gigantic within the context of the MAC championship game, as we are on the outside looking in. Our initial recruiting board, we have got every single one of the targets to date, which is outstanding. Very good spot. For the second wave of recruiting, we got a couple more nice players. Gayton at linebacker, Smoker at pass rush, Clemens as an almost top 500 player at tackle. But the big potential get is Mateo Moon, our second quarterback of the recruiting cycle. Top 500 player, 3-star gem. And, promising looking. Has the platinum clear-headed ability, 92 throw power, 90 speed, accuracy is into the 80s. Probably the only thing hurting his base rating is that low 58 awareness. So, again, continuing to see if we can find eventually, that 3-star gem, star dev, decent skill cap quarterback. TJ Peak, 6 catches, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns against Toledo. I had to make sure it was a win, and it was a very convincing win. 7-1 Toledo. 45-13. We got 4 touchdowns, 2 picks for Cockrell. 100 yards for Wilbon. Absolute beast. Peaks and more kind of going off. Man, Diggs has been a little bit quiet this year for our go-to guy, but he still gets on the board with a touchdown there. Pass rush, kind of non-existent. Shout out Dakota Mills with the interception. Let's go, baby. At the end of year 3, we finished the regular season with a little number next to our name and a spot in the MAC championship game against Kent State. Tail of the tape, we are a much stronger team on paper than Kent State, but this game's not played on paper. But I think 3 years from being, HBCU to the MAC and featuring in the championship, I don't want to say that's necessarily ahead of schedule. The pace is what we did with Michael Vick and Norfolk State. We're right around the same page. But, we're in a great spot. And Kent State's not a particularly good team. They're on a hell of a rebuild because I'm pretty sure they're one of the worst teams in this game. So the fact that they're featuring here as well is a testament to what they've been able to build. But in the first half, it has been a tightly contested matchup. We get a safety. Yeah, come on, team. 15-7. They're a touchdown, 2-point conversion away, which I imagine they'd probably get. Oh, they settle for a field goal. 2:26. We can't go close it out. They go for it on 4th down. We get the turnover on downs, and this is a Maction that did not have very much Maction, but Delaware State 15-10. One of the ugliest scores you will ever see. Our MAC champion. I don't know if that's going to get us in the playoffs or not. That would be ridiculous. As Darian Wilbon, the outstanding running back, is player of the game. But at minimum, MAC championship, that should bring us up to at least a 2-star prestige program, which is, again, just as a baseline, going to help us going forward. Damn, John Mateer, 50 touchdowns. No longer at Washington State, the portal. Where'd he go? Oklahoma? I will say, every time I watched him play a couple games, late night, he looks like a baller. And we have a Detroit Bowl against Michigan. Thought maybe wouldn't. The MAC's the MAC, right? So you'd probably have to be undefeated and win the MAC to get into the playoff, which is a challenge that we're going to embrace. But a win over a legacy blue blood like Michigan, that should be a half-star at minimum to our school prestige alone. But they are a vastly superior roster, and I'm terrified of how we're going to play the line of scrimmage. Let's go shock the world. We're going to play the moments here, probably just keep a front row seat. But if things get interesting, maybe help our team out a little bit. And look at that. Michigan scores. Our team responds right away by marching down the field and putting up a touchdown. No, the turnover on downs. 14-21. Oh, okay. We'll come in at least once. 21-14. The team's done the hard work. I'm going to see if I can not screw it up. In Wolverine territory. I don't want to go right to the running back out the backfield here. Or we take off with our scrambling quarterback and we'll slide because he has had some fumble issues when I've controlled him in the past. But that puts us in outstanding position. Continue to chip away. Oh. Minute 38. Direct running back snap to the best player on our offense. Oh, it's not. It's Cashman, the backup, but he still has a dev trait. Get in there. Oh. Not the end of the world. You make them burn their time up. But why is Wilbon not in the game? Big field goal. No chance. Can I get the same play? Except Wilbon. There we go. 23. He's not going to let us down here. 4th and goal. This is one of those plays, though. They stop us, I imagine they'll get all the momentum to go 99 yards and win this. But they ain't, because we got a 95 speed running back that is taking the MAC by storm. And look, they went on and scored, but it was too little too late. We earned that. 28-21. We are a 1.5 star. We got to be 2.5 at minimum after this offseason. Player of the game, who gets game ball, and it's CJ Peaks. Hell yeah. Something I want to add here at the end of year number 3. DeSean Jackson's up to an A- prestige for his coach. We've maxed out recruiter. However, the disadvantage of importing a team builder the way we did, and I probably should have imported it over a MAC team. I did Kennesaw State. The issue is I like to go after architect. We do not have rivalry games. That'll be something that definitely is on the wish list for College Football 26 to add custom rivalry games. So if we can't do that, I suppose endgame right now is to work our way to strategist. We've got 2 out of 4 bowl wins. We got to unlock tactician, which we will do. And then obviously when you get a strategist, this helps you a lot with recruiting. So yeah, we'll go this path with DeSean Jackson. Congratulations to the Fighting Irish for winning the national championship. Shout out Shane Gillis and Alabama Jones. Looking at our team stats, Cockrell at his ceiling, but that's his ceiling. We can keep winning with that until we can find maybe the quarterback that can take this program to another level. Those are very solid numbers across the board. Wilbon just under 1,010 touchdowns, and if you played any amount of College Football 25, you know it's rare, honestly, when your running back goes over 1,000 yards. So the fact that we got pretty close to that just highlights how good of a season it is. 8 vultures there by Cashman. The fact both of them are Stardev. You know, they're a great 1-2 punch. Diggs continues to be big-time playmaker for us. 800 yards, 9 touchdowns, 7-7 for Moore. 5-9 for CJ Peaks. Wilbon, 300. I mean, he's starting to pick up his production on the backfield. So happy to see that. Defensively, our pass rush got a little bit more improved. Paul Dieter, our first gem on the defensive side of the ball that we've been able to recruit. 7.5 sacks. I actually didn't check his skill caps. I think he's literally the only player with a star dev that I don't think. Oh, he's only impact. That's why. What are the skill caps? Not great, but also not brutal. Like if he's already an 80 overall with those skill caps, the way that he's developing, I mean, he could be that could be a draft pick for us. As Dakota Mills leads the team with 5 interceptions. It only took us 3 seasons, but we finally have first team All-Americans in the MAC as Wilbon at running back and Jermaine Houston at right guard get the awards. And looking at our players leaving, expected, right? Luckily, no one's going to the portal. And our program, we finished 14th ranked, and we get our half star for our prestige now up to a 2. I know this season I preached quality over quantity, and the transfer portal was very, very giving for Delaware State. So where we've gone 26 the last couple years, we go 32 this season, almost a max class, and I believe that's our 3rd straight year with a top 50 class. Went pretty bug wild on the portal. We got Haywood, some of the highlights, a top 200 player, stealing him away from Auburn, another top player from Fresno State. This could be the get, potentially. The freshman Sammy McAllister, top 200 quarterback out of Jacksonville State. They're kind of going through it rough. We got a top 200 wide receiver, a deep threat from Florida State. Couple nice corners. Nice tight end. But really for our class, we need dev traits, man. I'm sick and tired of the limited skill caps that we have across the board on our players. So we got impact on Haslam, Stardev on Hops, impact, Stardev on Haywood. Again, for the sake of process of elimination, trying to target, and that's really going to be the rule of thumb for a minute until we start getting 4 stars. I want the freshmen in the portal. I want the guys that are going to be here the longest, the highest, the chance to really grow and develop. A couple sophomores here and there. We got the freshman corner with a dev trait, Pruitt. Love to see that. Now we are into our high school recruits, as you can tell by the sheer lack of normal devs. Well, there we got Adeniju, the running back with a star dev. You love to see that impact. We got normal, impact, star dev on Deontay Gayton at linebacker. Bunch of normals there. Brutal. I mean, that is also what comes with the territory with being unable to scout these players fully to know if they're going to be gems or not. Sean Root was a not gem player, but a deep threat wide receiver with a star dev. So I love to see that. Holly was our gem with an impact, and our last 2 are going to be our quarterbacks of this class. We have impact on the 3-star gem, Mateo Moon. And we get McAllister in the portal with an impact dev. So you look at the comparison here. McAllister, a little bit more throw power, a little bit more mid-accuracy for Mateo Moon, a little bit better throw in the run from McAllister, a gigantic gap in awareness, 58 awareness to an 81. Athleticism goes to Mateo Moon. I mean, hey, happy to add these two QBs to our room. Snapshot from the training results. I don't always love showcasing this in my videos just because it's so frustrating to try to understand. But I mean, we had some pretty good development across the board. Dieter was one of our outstanding pass rushers as a sophomore. He's up to an 86, probably our best young player. We're very close to a couple 90 overall players. And Houston is, well, he was an All-American last year, probably in line. I mean, a couple of these guys in line to be our first Delaware State Hornets drafted to the NFL. Looking at our schedule, knowing where we finished last year, knowing our team overall, we do have that matchup against Cal, which I'm going up. We're winning that one. Tell you that right now. But we got Utah State, North Texas. I think within the MAC, Toledo's always tough at 8-5. But I mean, looking at the players, you know what? There's not a lot of pushovers. There's not a lot of teams that just had one win. A lot of them are kind of middle of the mall, flirting with 500. This could be an undefeated season. Let's be honest. And for the first time in school history, we have interest from 4-star recruits. Now looking through the gets that we got in the transfer portal. On the defensive side of the ball, Trevor Haywood, the sophomore star dev D tackle. Whoa. Absolute stud. Chance to be probably the best defensive player I've got out of the portal in an absolute minute. We got almost at the beach. At the beach is an 81 as a sophomore. Only an impact dev. Skill caps, not the best. That's a really, really nice base rating. A couple, in the 70s for our corners. Nothing too crazy there. Without beating around the bush, though, what is the quarterback room looking like? And we got Moon, Perkins, and McAllister. Are we chasing a quarterback this year? Well, Moon has not ideal skill caps. Perkins, normal dev. Ugh. Skill caps, pretty much a finished product. McAllister, who we stole away from Jacksonville State in the portal. Impact dev, not brutal skill caps. Probably not enough for me to say we're going to start you over Cockrell, who's just the incumbent starter. But I'm not seeing a quarterback here that's going to stop me from trying to chase a QB recruit. Let's go Arsenal. Okay, it's a different video. 1-1, Arsenal Brentford. Locked in. I'm supposed to be locked in on tag. We got 3 screens. But we got to be locked in on this rebuild. Because it is another year where we have done the benefit of the groundwork of 26-player, 32-player recruiting class. Our roster's looking pretty good. So outside of a couple 3-stars that we really just want to continue to add a little bit of depth, we're going to be able to swing for the fences here. We have Demario Ramesh, who is a part of our pipeline, which might help us out. But we got full 65 hours on him. 4-star gem defensive tackle. He looks like an absolute beast. We got Wimper, 4-star defensive tackle who had preseason interest with us. Part of our pipeline as well. We have Damian Norton, 4-star pass cover linebacker. Not as fast as you love to see. 91 acceleration is pretty good. We got Ishmael, 4-star corner. Don't really need corners, have a lot of depth, but again, anytime you can, new baseline. And our baseline is chasing any and all 4-stars that want to buy into the Delaware State project. We are in. The only bummer is no quarterback. And I'm not going to say it's cheesing it, but I was like, is there any quarterback in our pipeline that we could potentially swing for the fences for that, made sense for us as a program? And that was up here in Donovan Leon. I can't even look at him anymore, but as you can see by the little X next to his name, he was a bust. So I was like, you know what? We'll save our hours. We'll go elsewhere, and maybe the portal will bless us with a quarterback in the offseason. It's our 3rd straight year of scheduling Cal. They have beat us 2 times before, but I think a real put our flag in the ground moment to show that this year, year 4 is going to be different. We beat Cal. Let's go. Great route. Great separation. Terrible stadium for Delaware State. That was one thing when I was looking into. They have a 9,000 seater and some multi-purpose guys, the track around it. Yikes. All right, we got a drive going here. Over midfield. Wilbon's kind of been our big go-to weapon of the backfield, or we just step up in the pocket. Let's go. Cockerel, dual threat quarterback, ties this one up at 14. Do yourself again. Oh my God, that is what happens when you have a running back like Wilbon that is arguably our third best wide receiver. Guys have to stay with them, and the quarterback takes it himself. But to start the fourth, Cal ties it up at 21. Screen pass, get into fringe field goal range. Now Cal's going to start using their timeouts. That might be rough in the pass. 15. We're going to get to the outside. Elite speed. Maybe the fastest running back in the nation. The defense holds on, and we finally beat Cal. 28-21. That's for you, DeSean. I got to stop watching things because distracted on the other monitor here. We got Texas versus Arizona State. Go Cam Scatabout for the brand. We got Arsenal Brentford. And we also got a little Twitter open where Philly just announced they're going to sit Saquon Barkley, not chase the record. Yeah! So lame. The good news, first four-star recruit in school history sides on. Big win. We also lose out on a four-star to Auburn. Oh, we lose out on two. He's so close with the... Oh, brutal. And standing for the final four-star. I mean, we're going to stick with it, but not a whole lot we can do when you compete with Georgia. You got to hope that they screw the pooch on that Week 7 visit. But more good news. After a 3-0 start, we have a little number next to our name as the number 24 team in the nation. I've seen that in a fourth straight win over North Texas. Wilbon, the great running back, with 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, a perfect hat trick. Damn it. So I will highlight going back in for our second wave. We're going to chase after a 4-star. We got a 4-star free safety here. Might as well fully scout him here that we get the extra points. He's probably a bust if he's interested with. Hey, it's nothing. So it's all nothing. He might be all right. So your Delaware State Hornets undefeated, 7-0, 3-0 in Maction. And look at the final stretch here. I mean, Eastern Michigan, Toledo, which we knew was always tough. We have Buffalo in the season finale on the road. All these games are on the road, actually. We're going to be road dogs to close it out. Perfect season, very, very different. I think I only had probably 2 or 3 in all of my college football 25 rebuilds. But this is a very manageable schedule to try to achieve this. And in our first test against Eastern Michigan, Earl Cockerel, the quarterback, steps up with a 3-touchdown, no interception performance. Player of the week, hell yeah. This is going to be the big hurdle. Any other game, I feel real confident with us. But Toledo, they were tough last year. Shout out Quinyon Mitchell. Not only does Toledo have our number, that is belt to ass. 49-10. Lost you Grunkenmeyer. Let's go. Another 4-star to the good guys. Rico Millie could start for us next year. So our final regular season game against Buffalo, which is not going to be easy. We don't even control our own destiny for the conference championship. Toledo obviously beat us. I don't know what the tiebreaker would be with Ball State. Hopefully that if we finish 7-1, we would have the tiebreaker. And let's go. I mean, we don't know where the standings going to get a quick look there. But I'll tell you what, offense, defense, special teams, all getting the job done. Love seeing Diggs with 2 tuds. Love seeing 3 sacks. Love seeing a couple turnovers. And we're still out. Okay. Good news, potentially, is after sitting out conference championship week, we actually went up. We went from 11th to 10th. So where does that put us into the offseason? You would imagine we're somewhere on here. Huh. South Alabama wide receiver wins Heisman Trophy with 17 receiving touchdowns. Jerry and Graham. Anything is possible. Just like Delaware State in year 4, making the college football playoff. Could be rough, but we'll try our best against Texas A&M. Home of the 12th man, huh? Well, doesn't matter. Most overrated home environment in all college football. Okay, you got a bunch of weird cult. I don't know. We'll leave it. Oh, Arsenal scored again. 3-1 Arsenal. Let's go. I got a dog. I'm a cat person. Hopefully my team can step up. At least keep it competitive, man. I'm not expecting, we probably shouldn't be here. But we are, and we're going to make the most of it. And it is 7-7, and we're putting a better effort than Arizona State is right now against Texas. And we are tied at halftime. DeSean Jackson got these boys playing. How do we get no points there? We are in the red zone. Just ran out of gas, man. Good experience. Hopefully we get some school prestige bumped up. Disappointing. Well, look at that. Cincinnati and South Alabama in the Natty. If we were able to go on a run, that'd be the year. So those are no blue bloods. How did this all break down? Who lost? Which one of the blue bloods choked this? So Miami lost to South Alabama. Notre Dame lost to South Alabama. We have, Cincinnati was the number 2. They're 15-1, so they just had a hellacious year. Beat Washington in the quarterfinal by 1 point. Close win over Texas A&M. Oh, man. I mean, if Cincinnati can do it, we sure as hell can do it. Looking at our regular season plus playoffs stats, still getting limited quarterback play. And I really don't expect us, until we find the quarterback, to have much of a chance. But it's very difficult trying to find the quarterback. Darren Wilbon, outstanding season, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. Maka Diggs, as he gets ready for his senior campaign, pretty solid. But again, limited quarterback play. We're never going to have gaudy numbers there. Our pass rush, roughly, in the ballpark of where it was a year ago with Maka Sue. Why is Maka the name of the day? But Maka Sue lead the team with 6 sacks. Wonder any relation to Ndamukong. Decent interception numbers. Wilbon does finish as a national first-team All-American. He also gets it for the MAC as well as Tyreek Williams. Houston, back-to-back for him. Colin DeBerry and Nicholson, and we get the kicker. But definitely need to get a couple more guys on the defensive side of the ball, I think. DeSean Jackson, top 10 in head coach of the year voting. I thought this would be much higher for Wilbon, coming in number 10 for the top running back in the nation. And Houston, the 2-time first-team MAC All-American, is our first draft pick in school history of this rebuild as he goes in the 6th round. However, not really seeing any movement on our 2-star prestige, which is very annoying. Boom, another first as we land our first and only, this is the only guy available, that was a 4-star in the transfer portal. Going to be a senior day 1 starting center, Cooper Fordham out of Jacksonville, Florida. We made the most out of this 2-star prestige in our, 450, 500 hours, as we are now no longer a top 50, but we are now a top 40 recruiting class in the nation. And take a look at the depth traits of the players that we're able to pull in. Of course, the 4-star is normal, because of course he is. We get a 3-star Pete Humphreys with a star dev trait on the D-tackle Foxworth, star dev trait on the linebacker Duke Moody, which you always love to see. Star dev on, well, now we're getting to the players that we recruited out of high school. Desmond Lampkin, who is going to be a power rusher for us, 88 strength. Star dev on Rico Millie, the 4-star safety that we got late. Love to see that. Star dev on Pat Carlisle, the 3-star gem center. Couple impacts. Norman, our first 4-star in school history, is an impact. And Cantwell, instant commit, is a normal. Could not find a quarterback either in the transfer portal. So, yeah. Going into recruiting for year number 5. Quality over quantity is the word of the day. I do have some roster areas that I want to try to. We need a kicker. We need 2 corners. I need an off-ball linebacker. I need a D-tackle. I need a pass rusher. I need 2 tackles. I only got 1 for now. I think we can find 1 in the transfer. But as you can see, all these guys, 1st or 2nd place, which is awesome. Especially we got a great role there. I didn't scout him, but the number 2 kicker in the nation has us as his 1, so that helps. I want to get some playmakers. Time to swing for the fences. So we have Pinkston, who is part of our pipeline. 6+, 99 speed, 96 acceleration. We got Wetzel, who is a part of our pipeline as well, 99 speed. Those are DeSean Jackson guys. We have Truman, who looks like an outstanding 3-star running back with that 94 speed. We do need 2 running backs. So I am chasing another pipeline player in the power back, Jamerson Harms. We're not on his top 10, but hopefully we can make around 233 with 93 speed. Has the platinum ability. But our program here has struggled to find a quarterback. And I think that there's a chance that we could be going another 4 or 5 years if we keep kind of with the parameters. So it's time to just go find ourselves a QB. And we are looking at the number 34 quarterback. And he's not like a stud. Like, he's not a gemmed up player or anything like that. But he is 4-star. And he does have elite athleticism. And surely would be, QB1 for us. Oh, no. I want at least one of you. Damn it. Going to go back to the well for 2 more wide receivers. We got Anthony Blades, who has 98 speed for a 3-star gem. And we're going to try and get actually a 4-star that has us within his top 10. Lionel Farmer with 95 speed, 95 agility. Damn. Brutal, man. 1 week away from getting him in for a visit, which could have turned the tides. We listed on the 4-star Harms, but it was always going to be tough. He had no interest in our team outside of being part of the pipeline. We got to focus all our efforts now on getting Farmer and LaRue across the line. Brutal! So with our recruiting board kind of falling apart a little bit, we're going to double back in for a couple more late 4-stars. We have Rawls at running back, Riggins kind of just a BPA. But the good news is at least we got our 4-star quarterback. Not a perfect one, but more speed than we've traditionally got at that position. And I mean, he's probably going to be, high 70s as a true freshman, likely a starter for us next year. But even better than that, we are the number 7 team in the nation after starting 6-0. And look at the remaining games on the schedule. Ohio, Toledo, who's had our freaking number. I mean, grindy games left in the MAC, but it's all MACtion. And we'll see if we can complete an undefeated. Because with the caliber of our squad, undefeated in MAC play should be bare minimum. At least I'm glad we blew the undefeated season before Toledo. Could have the opportunity of costing us back-to-back years. Overtime loss to Ohio Bobcats. Ooh, Brandon Nicholson gets 2 picks against Toledo, which likely means we finally didn't lose to Toledo. Let's go. 45-22. Cockrell, 4 touchdowns for the senior. Wilbon, 100 yards. You'll love to see that. I mean, these are our 3 guys. First recruiting class. Absolute studs. Look at that. Getting after the quarterback. 6 sacks. Ooh, 6 sacks, 2 picks. Defense has never played that good. And in the regular season finale, we are back up to number 11 after our Ohio loss. We're 6-1 in conference play against Western Michigan. And it's always been pretty tight. And you wonder. You slip up here. Could Ball State, could Toledo, could Buffalo. Potentially. I mean, look at Ohio way down there at 6. Oh, what a dumb loss. Well, we're able to beat Western Michigan in the regular season, going from 11 all the way up to number 8, and we get an instant rematch against them in the MAC championship. So now in our 5th year with Delaware State, we are significantly the better team. Now, I will give Western Michigan, they're an 82 overall, which is really high for a MAC team. But we are 88 on both offense and defense. So this is a matchup. I don't expect it to be maybe a blowout, but I expect to be like at least a 14-point cushion. And here we are going into halftime, tied at 7. And there's just this vibe that I got in the pit of my stomach that we are not going to win any big-time games until we have like a game changer at quarterback. And just lost Mac because the quarterback threw a pick. Yep. So with that L, it knocks us way out of college football playoff territory, number 19. But it's fine. We still got 1 more year. We won the Natty with Norfolk State and Michael Vick in year 6. And it's going to line up for that for year 6 for us to potentially do that. But, I mean, that is, I don't know. We were much further along. We recruited a lot better with Michael Vick at Norfolk State than we have here with the Hornets. But we can only control what we can control, and that is going out and winning the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl to see if another bowl victory will help raise the prestige of our program. Right on, Tony Tiger. Cool. Great. So we have a lot of going upwards, and our program is now a 3-star prestige. So, I mean, there's a valid argument that making the playoff and being one and done in the playoff, if you're trying to just grow your prestige, might not be the best method. Like bowl games, winning, stacking bowl game wins. Maybe that plays a big part into it. Our stats this season for our senior class: 3,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, 5 picks for Cockrell. You know, he's been solid. Not necessarily a program elevator, but he's been solid. Darren Wilbon's been incredible. 964, 14 touchdowns, an unreal talent. Maka Diggs, 98 speed. Getting one of those players our first class. He's DeSean's dude, man. That's our project. 950 and 11 touchdowns. Haslam was solid. The transfer from Florida State. Defensively, 10 sacks from Trevor Haywood, who we remember, if you remember 2 years ago, we looked at his skill cast when he got in the portal. Almost unlimited potential. 87 now. He'll probably be in the 90s after training camp next year. Look at this, though, from Brandon Nicholson. 9 interceptions on the season. An incredible performance from the 88 overall senior. We send 3 more players to the NFL. Love seeing 2 of them being guys we drafted. Obviously, we got Fordham in the transfer portal as a one and done, but DeBerry was a star dev tackle. 3-star Wilbon was, I think, straight up. I don't even think he had a gem. Happy to see 3 more Delaware State Hornets go to the league. Now, an element, and I don't think this is new information to anybody out there, but the last 3 years at least, I've had 30 3-stars, multiple top 100 players wanting to join my team in the transfer portal. Now that we're actually good, it's slim pickings. Now, I get if you're making the argument like, well, as my team gets better, we're going to have less recruits that want to jump because I already have pretty good players there. But also, how about let me unlock like the next tier? Because I've just been getting, while we've had potential upgrades to be had, we've only been getting 3-stars, and I've had all the 4-stars like locked out. Like no chance for me to go try to recruit any of them. Okay, well, now that I'm a good team, fine, maybe don't give me 30 3-stars that I could potentially have other guys, but give me like 10 4-stars that I could try to throw my hat in here, because I only got 1. Look it up. This is all the players that are available to me. Coming off a 12-2 season, where we won the goddamn Tony Tiger Bowl. Silver lining, I guess, is I have 900 hours to try and secure the services of David Okereke. Lucky I was able to find a 4-star here at guard, Akil Wint. So we'll be all in on him as well. Nice. Yep. Nice. Silver lining, got a 4-star guard late. And Okereke probably has a good rating. He was the number 2 player in the portal, but only a normal dev trait, so it's not like we missed out on some freak of nature, elite dev, 90+ complete game changer. And going for quality over quantity was always going to take a little bit of a hit of our top 50 recruiting class, as we are 71st. So if you go with quality over quantity, it better be quality. We better be seeing some good dev traits here amongst our 3 and 4 stars. We got star on Wint, the 4-star guard that we got late, which I'm happy. Impact on our kicker. Impact on Powell. Star dev on DeSean Truman. You love to see. Hale with an impact. Star dev on Anthony Blades. This deep threat, 98 speed. Love the look of that. We got star dev on Ibarra. I mean, yeah, hell yeah. Great dev traits on everyone except Vaughn's. Now we have our 2 5-stars. Up first, we have Rawls, who is a top 150 player in the nation out of Oak Lawn, Illinois, with a star dev. And LaRue's going to be the big one. He is a top 100 recruit. Biggest recruit in Delaware State history, and could be the missing piece from this team where we've gone the last 3 years with double-digit wins. But it's never really felt like we've been serious in the postseason, and we've been missing a quarterback with a ceiling. Now, LaRue, if this is 4-star normal, 4-star impact, wet fart. If it's star, if it's elite, it's probably not going to be because he wasn't a gem. But if we can get a star dev, still a chance for a decent skill cap. Oh, yeah, look at this, man. 78 overall. He'd be an 84 running back. 78. I mean, I think we have to go. I think we go at least QB this year. And then if we chase another quarterback, which clearly we're still going to be trying to target, we'll know that he could potentially be an absolute beast of a running back. Had some big time development in training camp. Gayton, the linebacker, that's like plus 10 from freshman to sophomore campaign up to an 86. Haywood, 87, which is a little unfortunate. I thought his skill caps would be higher than that. Root at wide receiver. came out of, he was like wide receiver 4 last year. He has up to an 88. And we got Dieter, the longtime gem that's been here for 4 years. He broke into the 90s. Likely will be probably a chance to be a first-round pick. I will say great news going into year number 6 recruiting. Look at all the 5-stars that they're recommending we go after. Year 6 could be a big one. It's the pace that I wanted to try and win a national championship by, as that is what we did with Michael Vick and Norfolk State. I feel like we're probably a little bit off the pace, but I'll tell you what, if we don't get it done this year, we are hopefully going to have an all-time recruiting class. Outside of the punter, which we need, we are chasing potentially greatness. We have 4-star James Carlos. We're in his top 5. 4-star Jim Burnett, currently his number 1. Catapano, 4-star Jim linebacker. We got a ways to go, but excess hours. Very rare that we have excess hours. So as soon as we can start hard selling these players, we're gonna. We have Ritzman, the 5-star power rusher. We're getting an early lead there. I'm not seeing a lot of big dogs unless Michigan starts coming on over. We got McAdley, a 4-star D-tackle, number 1. 4-star guard in Wheaton, number 1. We have Tavares Ebron, the 4-star gem wide receiver, a top 100 player out of our pipeline who has 99 speed. And the big potential get. There's no 5-star quarterback, unfortunately, in play for us, but we found a 4-star in Frederick Evanson, a top 500 player, 4-star gem, 95 throw power, 87 speed, 91 acceleration. Just getting the vibe. So like that, this at minimum could be our star dev trade. Good skill cap quarterback. And we start the season 1-0, number 18 ranked. I mean, looking at our schedule, Toledo's always going to be tough, but you could probably make the argument Cal and SMU, our inter-conference games, probably going to be the tough ones. But tough is relative when you're an 89 overall team. There's not a lot of rosters, top to bottom, that are better than Deshaun Watson's squad. Damn, man, it was going to be tough. But let's be honest, man, I feel like our team definitely should be able to handle SMU. Now, I know SMU made the playoff and yada, 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 but Because you look at the quarterback position, and we're going with the senior McAllister. Should we be maybe bolder and go with the freshman LaRue? I know he might potentially be a better running back when all is said and done, which is not a great topic to have, because you're kind of like a Jalen Milroe conversation. But I mean, McAllister is what he is. I guess it's just kind of, you go with the guy that might give you the best chance to win right now, because McAllister still has some room to grow with his skill cap. It's not like he's a capped out 80 overall. But I mean, just maybe we might get a little bit more with LaRue. Let's do it. Let's go with the freshman. Why not? McAllister was transfer portal too. What even guy that we found through the trenches? Oh, well, that's just phenomenal. 5-star. Cool. Just decided now, I guess our playing style's not... I mean, it's so close. I don't know if we can make that ground before he commits to, NC State or Syracuse. Brutal. Well, the start of all is we get the 4-star gem, Robert Burnett, and the 4-star guard, Chris Wheaton. The bad news, and this was expected because this was our first big year of trying to chase premier players. So even if it looked good at a moment, it was only a matter of time. We're losing out on a couple. Carlos is now gone. We replaced one of our 4-star D tackles that we lost to Florida with Luizo. We're already quickly number 1, but we get the quarterback who arguably could end up being the most important player from this class. I hate Miami. They're just coming out of nowhere and stealing our guys. But we get Ebron, the 99 speed wideout. DeSean will be happy with that. Mini DeSean Jackson coming in. Pick up our second L of the year against Ball State, and we lose our ranking. So we need a very, very strong finish to kind of salvage the season as, inheriting the growing pains of going with an athlete that we're not so sure that his best position is quarterback. I mean, the best in my head, obviously, turn the season around, finish out, win out, play in the MAC championship. And then who knows what happens. That's still best case. But I'm thinking big picture, year 7, we know LaRue is only going to get better as a running back. If that quarterback that we recruited, 4-star gem's a stud, we might get better at 2 positions very, very quickly. So we lose to Miami, Ohio. And then Kent State beats the brakes off us. We've gone 12-2, 11-2, 12-2 the last 3 years. And we're already at 4 L's. Huh. That's exactly where you want to be in year 6 of a 10-year rebuild. A little bit of good news in the season as we get a 4-star gem offensive tackle, George Eagles, as the final commit from our regular season class. Unfortunately, with our terrible record, no expectations of playing for a conference championship. So, hopefully, a nice bowl win helps bring the prestige up a little bit of the program. Oh, Cure Bowl against UConn. UConn beat us way back in year 1 in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So a little bit of history here. Oh, yeah, Cure Bowl. And actually, with this Cure Bowl, we should also unlock strategist. Let's go. That's what I've been hoarding my points for. Let's go. 55 points down to 40. I mean, we're DeSean Jackson, so clearly our strategist, we're going to go right into the wide receivers. Do I really want... I mean, in reality, you just want the last one in strategist. So, let's work on our mind reading. And as far as our Cure Bowl win over ranked UConn 28-18, nice performance, decent finish to the year for LaRue. Again, very fluid for what his position is going to be going forward. But, I mean, technically, with the luck that we've had, the quarterback that we recruit's not going to be anything special, and we go into year 2 with LaRue. We finish with upgrades to our coach prestige and pros potential. We lose a little bit of stability and no gain to our program prestige as of yet. Statistically, LaRue was, solid, all things considered. Not a brutal first season there. Run game had a lot of touchdowns. Receiving game, Busby finished with 1,000 on the dot with 12 receiving touchdowns. Hazel with 9 and 10. The senior transfer that we got a couple years ago from Florida State. Defense, Sue with 10.5 sacks, 7.5 from the senior Haywood. We got 6 picks from the linebacker, Moody, making plays all over the field. Pretty decent numbers across the board for a 9-4 team. All right, we got Busby with a chance to return, very high persuasion chance, able to get him back. We have Dieter projected to be a 3rd-round pick. Maybe a chance Haywood slips in, gets drafted. Damn, just Dieter, but part of our very early gem recruits. We only had a couple of them, so they definitely have stood out. Happy to see him be our highest draft pick yet. Oh, the transfer portal opened up just a little bit for us. We got a 4-star there. Top 50 player. 3-star time. I mean, we have so many hours. Honestly, I'll go after all the 3s. We got a 4-star cover linebacker. 4-star guard. Could be worse. Could obviously be a lot better as well. So our overall class, we are top 50 again, which I think for only having 12 recruits that's impressive. 8 4-stars and 4 3-stars. But now it's about what are those 4 stars, especially the quarterback. So the transfer portal, we get Stardev guard for 2 years, DeMarco Neighbors. We get an impact freshman. We get an impact day 1. He's going to be a senior, likely a starter. Into our recruiting class, we got normal on the 3-star, normal on the 3-star. Honestly, only depth moves to kind of help out our depth chart a little bit. Eagles was a 4-star gem, Stardev at right tackle. Luazo at D tackle, kind of a surplus, was a BPA, don't even really need D tackles. Not bad. Impact normal on the punter. Now we're getting to the big dogs. Ebra on the 99 speed, wide receiver, elite dev. Let's go. Our first elite dev player recruited. It only took us 6 freaking seasons. We got a star on the guard, Chris Wheaton. We got an elite on Robert, please. 4-star gem elite, 4-star gem elite. What is the quarterback? Okay. Could have been worse. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take our 81 quarterback and make him a 90 overall running back. And we'll go with Evanson, the 77 overall freshman, as our QB. And hopefully it all works out. But at training camp, nothing absolutely insane. Root up to an 89. And a couple 90s. LaRue. So the quarterback already +2. And we cheesed there a little bit. Honestly, I just had 2 tight ends on my depth chart. So I took my smallest offensive tackle, the senior Bouchard. Not going to cheese him. He's not going to play. I might make him my tight end too, so he's out there for blocking. But, I mean, I'm not going to gloat about that. I just cheesed it. But cheesed it for depth chart reasons, not to flex, so I got a 96 tight end. All right, we got those big name recruits. Just curious, what does it look like under the tape? And Burnett, 91 speed, 91 acceleration for the 4-star elite dev linebacker. 9 skill cap. That's pretty good. Sky is certainly the limit there. On the defense side, I mean, Luazzo's not really worth it. In terms of, like, we want to just look at the studs here. Where we at? Right tackle, Eagles, 75. He was a 4-star gem. Star dev. Ugh, definitely not the best skill caps. We have at wide receiver, Mr. Ebron with the 99 speed. Tavares Ebron, elite dev. I'm going to get him on the field day one. Tell you that right now. Skill caps, not brutal. 5, 6, 7, 8 total skill caps. Not getting any faster. Would love to see. This is one of the things I kind of hate. Is that it's so often you get like the 99 speed guys. They have kind of not great acceleration. Be cool to have a little bit more balance there. Feels like that's kind of more often the case. LaRue at running back. Now I wonder what happened with his skill caps now that we moved him to running back. And I mean, hands, elusiveness, and IQ. Wasn't expected, but he can still get faster. Can still add some more power to his game. So that's cool. But he's probably not going to get much better than a 92. But the skill caps that we want to see. We have Mateo Mode, who developed nice during training camp. The impact dev, 3-star quarterback. But he is essentially maxed out. And he may give us the best chance to win, which was the dilemma that we had last year. But I think, just please be our guy. Star dev Evanson, have less than 10 skill caps. 4, 5, 7. There's elusive. Who cares? He could get max. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to say he can get max throw power, but throw power has unlimited potential. Accuracy has unlimited potential. IQ has almost unlimited potential. And he could get faster. Yes! Oh, it took us 7 years, but we got our guy. So looking to bounce back on our schedule after a 4L year. We have ranked UConn week 3. And then it's division play for the most part. So all eyes on that UConn matchup. I think we should be able to handle South Alabama and Temple. We held up our end of the bargain. UConn did not. They lost the ranking. We are now with a little number next to our name at 2-0. You know, it's what happens when you chase the big recruits. We lose it on the 5-star. Our first 5-star we're trying to get. We still in on Sam's here. Very close to the commit, but we lose out to Auburn. We do gain, however, one of the highest rated 4-stars I've seen in Jason Redmond, a top 100 player. All right, our drought for 5-stars continues. Man, NIL from the U just hits different. You do get Guacham, 4-star safety. Happy with that. So Delaware State, here in year 7, come to you undefeated. The number 14 team in the nation and 3-0 in Maction. We have Western Michigan, Northern Illinois, Miami, Eastern Michigan, and Kent State. Only 2 of these teams have a winning record. This could be undefeated season territory, and I just jinxed it. So we got past a couple hurdles. Miami beat us last season. I'm sure they'd love to play spoiler again. Kent State beat us last season. I'm sure they'll love the opportunity to potentially play spoiler. And it took multiple overtimes. Very close, but Miami, Ohio cannot play spoiler. Not the greatest showing from the quarterback, but luckily LaRue, he was, big moment quarterback last year. Now can handle that pressure as a running back. Couple nice plays on the defensive side of the ball as well. Staring down a perfect regular season, you better believe we're hopping in, at least getting a front row to what could be an incredibly difficult thing to achieve in college football 25. I literally have, just one sec, I literally write down all of my rebuilds. In our very first realistic rebuild, we went undefeated. I'm going to read all this, and we're going to lose to Kent State. But in our very first Florida Gators realistic rebuild, in year 10, we went undefeated and won a national championship. That's 1. Nothing there in Army. Nothing there with North Dakota State. We went undefeated with Texas Tech in year 4. So that's 2. I don't know if you can hear these pages. We've done lots of rebuilds. I have 2 in 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 rebuilds. 2 undefeated seasons. We have a chance at 3. Come on. Let's make history with a true freshman quarterback. Kent State has beat us, though. They have been a team that, this is incredibly low scoring. We're not pulling ahead, which means shenanigans could be at foot in the fourth quarter. We're going overtime. Okay, they settle for a field goal. So we get the ball in overtime, touchdown, and we win. We won the coin toss. We played defense. We're set. We're trading field goals. Fuck! Unfucking believable. Pardon my French, but are you kidding me? Luckily, at a minimum, we are in the MAC championship game. And with a win, hopefully, with a little bit of favoritism in the polls, we should be in the college football playoff. I'm not gonna lie, I literally was like preparing thoughts in my head that we're gonna lose this one as well and just ruin the whole season. But we do win the MAC championship, sweeping Miami, Ohio 2-0 on the season. First team out of the playoff. One loss. Dude, we made the college football playoff 11. Were we 11-2 when we made it the first time? Okay. Goddamn right we did. And hey, true freshman finishes his year off strong in the bowl game. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Let's look at the stats on the year. Evanson with 35 touchdowns. Best production we've got out of a quarterback yet. LaRue thriving at running back. We got Sean Root, who will be returning. Hopefully he's a 90-plus receiver. Had a very nice season. Ebron, the true freshman, with 9 tutties. Not bad. Defensively, our pass rush not as strong as it's been year past. Especially, you know, all guys that are not going to be here next year were our top 3 sack getters. Okay, defense needs to play a little bit better. Can't gloat because it's our cheese tight end, but he does go in the first round. Busby at wide receiver 3. Singleton at center at 4th round. So it's Delaware State's representing real nice in the NFL nowadays. But yeah, sick. Love it. Love it. Just 2 guys. Sick. Thanks. So we finished pretty damn strong with a top 20 recruiting class here in year 7, headlined by 11 4-stars. Now, did we get good dev traits? For our 2 transfer portal gets, normal and normal. So that is just sensational. We get Star Dev on a 3-star, impact. Ew. Ew. Oh. Elite, there we go, League. Watch him. Elite Dev Strong, safety. Star Dev on Louis Russo, and our top elite, probably our highest rated recruit yet at center, Jason Redmond with the Star Dev. But all in all, you know, it was a class where I just wanted to fill up my roster because all the cool players that would have been just fun upgrades went to Power 5 programs. Going into year number 8, I have scheduled a couple out-of-conference ranked opponents. I'm not going to lie, kind of handpicked the ones that looked a little easier. 10-4 Memphis last year, 10-3 Wake Forest, 12-3 Rice. We're 90 overall. We are one of the strongest teams in the country. So if we're going to get ranked, I want to get ranked fast. I don't want any, because the undefeated season we already know it's going to be very difficult. But if we can beat a couple ranked opponents and get that ranking high, like if we could be number 2 or number 3, number 4, number 5, and then when we lose, it shouldn't cost us a college football playoff berth. We're going with the utmost quality over quantity. We have 10 total targets, and they are all at positions of need that we're going to be lacking depth, and they're all very good players. We got the 4-star, 4-star. But I will say, not a lot of gems. Only gem that I found was Jacques Lebel. But we are chasing a 5-star quarterback here in Theo Rooks. Not my perfect style. I usually tend to go with Scrambler. We got Field General with 93 throw power and somewhat decent athleticism. We got the burner wide receiver here, Mike Carrion, 97 speed. And really everyone outside of the quarterback has us in their top 10. The quarterback chasing him because he is part of our pipeline. Let's go. So take a look at our roster. It took us 6 seasons with Michael Vick and Norfolk State to win the national championship. That was the end of the rebuild. And really, year 5 of that rebuild was when I was kind of expecting that team to be a playoff contender. The reality is here for Delaware State, because that was kind of the pace car, very similar story, HBCU, former player, yada, yada, yada. The reality is here at Delaware State, we're now here in year 8, and this is the first year that I feel like I have those expectations that we should go on and compete for a national championship. So we are definitely behind schedule, but as a 90 overall, our roster is a very legit. We have both our safeties flirting with 90s overall. Our corner is probably the big issue. We do have a shutdown, lockdown corner and a Daniju, but beyond that, definitely lacking a little bit. But I think the safety tandem, and there's no liability, but that's just not an elite secondary. So we're going to need the linebacker to step up. We have Gayton, we have Mafe, we have Burnett, we have Norman, we have Smoker. So all these guys are going to have to kind of pick up the slack of the lack of secondary and handle their business covering the middle of the field. D-tackle, not elite, but we got solid role players with Humphreys and Lampkin being one of the better 1-2 punches at pass rush in all of the nation. Our offensive line, I think, will stack up against anybody. 87, 86, 90 for Willingham, 89 for Neighbors, and 90 for the sophomore Akil Wint. What a talent he freaking is. And he might be the best tackle in the whole freaking country. Tight end room, again, much like I would say, the secondary. Role players don't really use the tight end too much. Wide receiver room, we got stacked. We have Sean Root and Blades, especially Blades with 6'2", 98 speed, an outstanding 1-2 punch. We have Ebron, the sophomore. We're going to put him at number 3 just because he has that 99 speed as well, and DeSean Jackson reasons. At running back, we have LaRue, the converted quarterback, who is now instantly one of the best running backs, and those stats are off the chain. 6'3", 215, 94 speed, 94 acceleration, 93 agility, 94 carry, 93 ball carrier vision. Maybe, the spin, stiff, truck, break tackle ain't crazy. But the fact that, he was a quarterback and he can still catch. He's literally one of the best straight-up athletes I think I've ever recruited. And then we combine that with, Moon does have the higher rating, but we know Evanson, especially after starting as a true freshman, he is absolutely the quarterback that is going to be the quarterbacks of all quarterbacks. Better throw power. The accuracies, man, on Moon are actually kind of ridiculous. But the reason why you go with Evanson is he's kind of the insurance. I don't think there's a gigantic drop-off between these two quarterbacks. And if we don't somehow win, say we make the playoff, but we lose in the playoff, which would be reasonable, at least Evanson gets this year of development and growth so that next year as a junior, we're that much more equipped to run it back and win. So we start our gauntlet. Memphis, Wake, and Rice, none of them lost week 0. So as of now, they are going to be ranked opponents. Memphis is no longer ranked. Close, competitive. I'll say it was competitive. 31-20 for the good guys. Evanson 3 touchdowns. Did have an interception, which you'd love to see more of a clean game. LaRue over 100 yards and a touchdown. And on the defensive side of the ball, there we go. Couple sacks, no turnovers, but it is okay. One of the Wake Forest match, they've held up their end of the bargain. Still ranked as the number 7 team in the nation. And we're lucky to squeak out this one, maybe because we were the home team. That was the little bit of magic that gave us an advantage. 28-24. Evanson. I'm a little annoyed. 2 big ranked games. He's thrown picks because those are things that catch up to you. But still, generally, pretty solid game. 80% completion percentage. Ebron, the 99 speed burner, got after it. And a win's a win. Unfortunately, Rice did not keep winning. So, yeah. Only 2 ranked opponents to start the season. Well, at least we got the undefeated season out of the way. Rice, maybe probably should have still been ranked. Not a great performance from our quarterback, and their quarterback was real nice. So Auburn just decided to ruin our entire board. We were first for Rooks, and he takes a visit there, and we're no longer first. South Carolina took away my 4-star pass rush, even though he came for a visit. They took our corner. Great. Got our safety, Auburn, and South Carolina, huh? Now we're trailing Georgia. Oh. Really got to win it all this year. We lose out on the 5 stars, so our streak continues not being able to land a 5. Now, I don't think we landed a 5 with Norfolk State, which sucks because we lose out on both of our 5s here. We do get Thomas to commit, and now we have to completely go back in for the second wave of whoever's left. Brutal! Now that we have the one loss out of the way, I look at my remaining schedule differently. If we were still undefeated, I'd be looking at like who is going to screw this up. Now that we have the one loss, I almost feel like it's going to be on our side. We should win out. Kent State week 13 could be a little tough, but the rest of these games need to be one-sided poundings. Love seeing that on our week 10 win over Eastern Michigan. Sean Root, our wide receiver, won with a hat trick of touchdowns. And in back-to-back weeks, the MAC offensive player is from Delaware State, is Damian LaRue with a $156 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So we've done exactly what we needed to do. 1 out all the way up to the Kent State game where it is 6-0 in MACtion against 6-1 in MACtion. And look at the conference standings. It is first and second place, so likely this could be a rematch of the MAC championship in a couple weeks. We're able to get a competitive win, which vaults us up to number 6 in the nation at 24-14 over Kent State. And we're getting like, that's kind of like the good stat line. Everything goes to plan. Evanston's going 3 touchdowns and throwing the 1 pick. Maybe just throws the 1 pick to just rip that Band-Aid off. He's not comfortable until he throws an interception. He's like Jameis Winston. We're able to win out. And that is exactly what we foresaw a couple weeks ago. The number 5 team in the nation, Delaware State, against Kent State. A rematch for the MAC championship. We have some history with Kent State in MACtion. Way back in year 3 when we won our first MAC title, we defeated Kent State. So let's see if just, 5 years later, we can do it again. Never in doubt. So we finished the regular season with 1 loss. And with the win in the MACtion championship, number 4 in the nation. So we've secured our berth in the play. But it wasn't like a dominating, we're going in with a whole bunch of momentum. We're just kind of like a balanced offense that plays stout defense. Humphreys and Gayton both with 2 sacks on the day. Mealy gets an interception, so we're playing solid complementary football. Now, does solid complementary football mean a MAC team can go on and win the college football playoff? I have my doubts, but I think with our roster, top to bottom, how good it is, we should be at least able to compete. We're into the Goodyear Cotton Bowl to take on the number 11 Wisconsin Badgers in the quarterfinals. This is our second appearance in the college football playoff. Way back in year 4, we went 11-1 in the regular season. Fortunately, that still wasn't enough to get in the MAC championship, but we did go to the college football playoff where we lost in the first round pretty handily to Texas A&M. So we are seeking our first college football playoff win, and a very, what's the tail of the tape here? I mentioned Wisconsin's pretty good. Whoa. Identical rosters. I want to see if this team can get me invested in this run. We got Wisconsin here. It's not our first time in the college football playoff. Way back in year 4, we went 11-1. Wasn't good enough to go in the MAC championship, but we were good enough. I think we were number 12 on the dot to sneak in the playoffs. We got the doors blown off us by Texas A&M. So we got Wisconsin here. We'll just sim this. If we win, it's not a big deal. If we, I feel like it's going to be a pretty bad defeat, even though it's the EA Sports Game of the Week. Pretty much even rosters. Give me a reason to get invested into this playoff run. Do we win? Do we lose? This is confetti. Suck it, Wisconsin. By Rico Klutz, the D-tackle, with 2 sacks and a TFL. And we are into the semifinal in the Fiesta Bowl against the Washington Huskies. It was a kind of like the MAC, kind of like what the vibes I've been getting off. Our team's just complimentary, solid football. I don't know if we're ever going to put up 40 bomb. I don't know if our quarterback's ever going to go for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns like we've seen in past rebuilds. But we're running the football well. And we're playing real stout defense. 4 sacks. We'll grind our way to a title, I suppose. Which is weird. You think DeSean Jackson, you think we're going to be kind of like Chip Kelly, Oregon Ducks 2.0. Throw, air raid, speed. Well, we do have the speed, but it's kind of translating on the field to Iowa football. I will hop in and grab front row seats for this one. We are the Big Ducks. A 90 overall against an 87 overall. Give me the 90 overall more often than not. And if we win here, we're in the finals. Very tough task against Washington. They're a team that's tested in the college football playoff. We're gonna wake up here, right? Touchdown. We don't go for we go for 2 for some reason. All right. Play the same way we play when we play Super Bowls in our realistic rebuilds in Madden. 3 chances we can hop in on the sticks to try and help this friggin' team move the football. We got LaRue, direct snap, boom, boom, right between. Hey, there we go, get the tackle. Probably one of the best plays. Probably one of my favorite plays in this whole game. And now we're in the red zone. And we're going to have to settle for a field goal because I hate this team. Oh, I hate this team so much. Oh, I hate everything about them. Touchdown, 2-point conversion. We're right back in it. Ooh. Get a press route like that. Okay. Yeah, no, that's my wide receiver 1. You know, I just got to put safety over there. I guess it's going to be on my team to go for... Should I just go for 2? I'll let them try to do it. Big end of game drive. Oh, we're tied. We're going in overtime. This will be my third cash in to try to give us the first score in overtime. Got Root at the top of the screen with a slant. He does win. We'll throw that out of the tight end. First and goal. Quarterback's yet to throw. I don't want to say it. He's playing a clean game. We'll put it that way. We have LaRue at the backfield. Right there, the tight end. Fired in. Easy does it. That's what happens when your tight end's your lowest rated skill position player. No one covers him. They're like, oh, he's just a blocker pretty much. Oh, we had to watch here. Come on. Ah! Why aren't they celebrating? It looks like they lost in double overtime. Delaware State cashed in our 3 times to hop in and kind of helped them get across the line. Last overtime, they had to do it themselves. And Fred Evanson, 264, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, as Delaware State in year 8 of a up to 10-year rebuild is in the college football playoff final. And honestly, after our recruiting board got decimated the way it did by South Carolina and Auburn, kind of don't want to deal with the fallout of having like a lighter recruiting class. So let's go, baby, all in. The national championship is set. I mean, it's not fair to call a blue blood like LSU a Cinderella story, but for the 9 seed to go all the way through the gauntlet, respect. That's how we've each gotten here. LSU had to beat Rice, who beat us in the first round. They had to beat Auburn, who stole all our top recruits. Appreciate that in the second. So they've kind of just revenge toward for us. They took down the Oregon Ducks 38-37. They earned it. I mean, this is a legit natty. And Evanson's been outstanding this year. 44 touchdowns. Now, some of that's been inflated a little bit because we're going on a long playoff run. But stats are stats. They all count the same. 3,600 yards, 44 touchdowns. The best production we've been able to get out of a quarterback. Damian LaRue, the best production by far we've got out of a running back since, I think, remember Norfolk State? We got Caleb Johnson, who's like an elite running back from Iowa. He somehow entered the transfer portal. He was like a glitched, showed he was 77, but in reality he was a 93 overall. That was probably the last good sim running year that I've seen until this one with LaRue, who's generational. Like, he's going to be one of those guys, I got to put him back in the memory bank. One of the best pound-for-pound recruits. He's only a 4, too. 4-star gem. And he was like, oh, I'm actually like a 79 quarterback or an 84 running back as his freshman. Absolute beast. What a season. No 1,000-yard receivers. We probably will hit it after the national championship game, but Ebron, 9-14, just under 1,000. Blades probably will hit 1,000 with 11 touchdowns. Really a great triple option at wide receiver. Defensively, 10 sacks by Humphrey, 6.5 Lampkin, 6 from Klutz, 5 picks by Adeniju. Good interception numbers across the board. How does that all relate to what we're about to see in LSU? Well, LSU's pass rush, they have the brother, maybe, of our quarterback, Chris Evanson, 10.5 sacks. They got Arma with 10. Interception numbers not the wow, because that is an uncommon last name. They got to be related. Maybe Cousins at worst. But I'm going to, for storyline purposes, the best pass rusher on LSU is trying to sack his brother. What a storyline. It's like the Kelsey brothers all over again. Holy shit. Nate Muamba, 1,300 yards, 24 touchdowns. 16 on Jesus Gamez, both seniors. So it's probably fair to assume, even their third guy, that like this is LSU's kind of going all in here a little bit. They're going to be losing a lot of production. They can run the football decently well with Hugh Peters, White Lightning. And at quarterback, Emmett Horn, 55 touchdowns, 8 picks, 4,400 yards. And what's the weakness of our team? Our corner room. Oh boy. Come on, DeSean. We need you to channel the miracle, the new Meadowlands. We need you to channel your revenge against the Eagles after Chip Kelly ruined your career with the Eagles. We need all those things combined to translate on the field for Delaware State to beat the brakes off LSU. And we're going to apply the same method. 3 times we can hop in. I'd love to not have to cash any in, but we'll go right here. We trade field goals in the first. And I feel like if we can spark something here, little bit of a drive, this will be a touchdown. Got this Fresno State offense. I've never used it before. So, I've heard good things. There we go. Touchdown. Defense. I think we come in again. I think here's going to be the bold decision making is try to score 2 touchdowns at the end of the first half. Go up 17-3 in the halftime. And then we'll sit on the last cash in for potentially, if it gets into muddy waters. There we go. We get 17-3 at half. Low scoring. LSU scores quick. We are tied at 17. And LSU, this is why we come in. LSU literally took the whole fourth quarter on like a 90-some yard drive. And in response to that, Blades is our speedster at B, but they have their best corner on Blades. Root is one of the highest rated wide receivers in the nation. There's no safety over top. We got to watch that deep safety. We got him. Now it's a little bit of a red pass. It's behind, but it's the most easy blown coverage I've ever seen. It's almost like they're letting us score because they know with 30-some seconds left, they're going to score. Let's play at least one. We'll play this last one here. Am I going the worst? I'm probably one of the worst defensive players in all of college football. Am I going to cost my team the national championship because I am that bad? I can't even be excited. That was disgustingly close. But after 8 long, grueling seasons, Delaware State is national champions. DeSean Jackson is a national champion. And while we did, at the start of this video, say we're going to use and challenge what we achieved in Norfolk State with Michael Vick, ex-player, taking an HBCU, and trying to win a national championship. We did it in 6 years with Norfolk State. Took us 8 with Delaware State. But I'll tell you what, we had a lot better players. DeSean Jackson recruited a lot better players. I think we just might have had a little bit better role with Norfolk State. And we did it the right way. We stayed in the MAC. Could have leapfrogged the ACC. One of the, on that, maybe even the Big Ten, potentially, if we wanted to. But we stuck it out. We won games, grind. It wasn't like we were just magically, like what LSU was, where our quarterback had like 60-some touchdowns, and we just beat everyone by putting up 35, 45 points. We found different ways to win. We played complementary football. We had a generational running back. 24-20. Let's go, baby. So that being said, fellas, please, for the YouTube robots and for my information, hit that like button if you enjoyed the rebuild, but let me know in the comment section below which college football rebuild you want to see next. I'm going to try now for the channel to balance realistic rebuilds in Madden and 10-year rebuilds in college football. So I want to know which school you want to do next, because I was going to do it anyways, but all the comments on the Mike Vick, Norfolk State, when the news came out that DeSean Jackson is going to Delaware State, wants to do this rebuild. So what is next? Let me know in the comment section below. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as we recently hit 175,000 subscribers on the channel, and we're working now up towards our new goal of 200,000, which would be cool to hit that at some point. Who knows when it will happen or if it ever will, but we're going to try our best. And thank you guys very much for tuning in to today's video. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out, love ya. Have a good one. I think this is my first video of the new year, so Happy New Year to everybody.